Welcome to Scary Stories with Boomy. Now sit back, grab yourself a glass of wine, and be prepared to be scared. Hello, my friends. That is right. We are doing a new segment on this channel, Scary Stories with Boomy. And that is correct. Now, I enjoy myself a good scary story. But we'll get to my first story in a moment. Don't worry. I mean, I think for right now, as we start to build up our repertoire, that's not a word, our archive of scary stories from you guys, the listeners, and from across the world, we'll dive deep into those as well. And was it the Mistletoe Bride? Something for Christmas, which I just heard recently, which I'm like, oh, that totally explains a lot of things about Christmas. But we're going to explore those things, and I will give you, in part one, or episode one rather, I'll give you an idea of some of my backstory and to just some of the weird shit that's happened in my life. How I've lived an extremely long life in a very short amount of time. So we're going to go there. And I'm going to share one story tonight, something that did happen to me. And it's going to be great. But I'll give you a quick Cliff Notes version. Not a virgin. That's completely different. We're running out of those. Version of my backstory. You know, when it comes to the paranormal, when it comes to ghosts and demons and stuff like that. I'm a bit of a weirdo. I like the dark stuff. I actually hate horror movies. I don't like them at all. I don't like gore. I like creepy spiritual crap. As we delve deeper into some things, you'll probably be like, oh, that totally makes sense. Totally. And as you listen to these episodes, I'm a complete and total weirdo because it's either that or I cry a lot. So you decide which podcast, which format you want. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're into that. I know this channel does a lot of gaming stuff as well, but if you're into that, party on. But if you want the scary stories and stuff, that should come out every Thursday, knock on wood, for that right there. And if you have scary stories yourself, make sure you go down to information below. theboomyshow@gmail.com is where you should send me your stories. And don't worry, if you want to be anonymous, you will always be anonymous. I'm really good at making up names. So here we go. My backstory, right? Okay, paranormal. Been researching the paranormal for years. I am very, one could say, deep is a lack of a better word, into the spiritual realm of things. Life has been interesting for me since I was 10 years old. I remember I was 10 years old, just going to sleep. It wasn't sleep paralysis. We'll talk about that in a later episode. But I was just getting ready to go to sleep, and next thing you know, I felt something was weird. The room felt weird. I felt weird. And I remember just placing my hand on the ceiling in my room and realizing I was levitating off my bed. No joke, no shit on that one. It happened. And the moment I realized it did, I fell down to my bed and ran to my parents' room, which is what I think most normal children would do. In that scenario, you find yourself, hey, I'm touching the ceiling in my room. Well, that's not normal. So yeah, ever since then, life has been interesting, man. I've been able to, I don't know. I mean, I have a title. I do, and we'll share that title some other episode. But I don't see is the wrong word. I see energies, shadows of people. That also sounds really weird as well. But I feel energies. I'm able to tap into energies, connect. I have the ability, and this has helped out a lot in life, to where I can connect with a person extremely easy and get past their walls and just see who they really are and get to know the true person who they are, and has helped out myself and quite a few people as well. Has gotten me out of some interesting situations. been able to do that. But yeah, I've been able to do that since I was 10 years old. And life, like I said, has been interesting. Yeah, the abilities are there, man. I feel like not too long ago, I remember I was outside, I was praying, I was just smoking a cigar, and I was just praying, I was asking for guidance from the universe, and I felt this just ancient, old energy standing behind me. And I have felt a lot of energies. I've dealt with a lot of things, as I'll get into in just a moment. But that was the first time I felt something that old, that ancient in my presence around me. And it wasn't bad, nor was it good. It was neutral, but it was there. And yeah, that was a trip. And that happened a couple months ago. I've had a couple instances like that where I felt someone just enter into my body. And someone who I really cared about just entered in my body. I had a complete conversation with them as well. So that was fun. You're probably thinking, Boomy, you're insane. Well, welcome to my life. This is just how it is. And you're just getting the top of the iceberg. You're not even getting what's below the surface on this sucker. I don't know if you guys are ready for that. But so yeah, more backstory. Yeah, I started a paranormal group with some friends of mine back before ghost hunting was even popular. We were called The Society, and I was in charge of the occult studies department. That's right. I dealt with the really dark shit. So I've studied demonology. I studied the occult. I follow Satanists around as they do crap, and there's just literally some things I literally cannot talk about, and I will never talk about, and it's going to die with me. And only me and anyone who else was involved back in those days. But I have seen my fair share of darkness. I have seen what the humanity is capable of when influenced by darkness. It's really crazy and insane. And I think sometimes when I have like this Boomy sense of humor, which most people know me for, is because I've seen some dark shit in my day, and I've seen some things that most people should never see. And if it wasn't for my sense of humor and just my weird assness, I would go insane. And that is the God's honest fucking truth on that one. It really is. Okay, so after starting the paranormal group, we would go around in California, because I'm from Southern California. I grew up there. I'm not there anymore, thank the gods. But we would go around, researching all the old haunts in California when it comes to Cobb Mansion, which we'll get into another episode, and my experience there with my friend Tim, or we'll just jump ahead of it, living in a coven for 3 years and being an advisor to the head witch of that coven. That was me. You're welcome. And all the drama there. And we might get into an episode of all the bullshit drama that happened in that coven. But no, we will. I mean, it's an open book, right? It's scary stories, and some scary shit did happen when living in a coven. Although I will say about 90% of the stuff happened there was actually pretty awesome. Made some good friends. We don't talk anymore. You'll understand that when I talk about that later in another episode. But that's one of the reasons why I moved from California. And you're like, dude, just talk about the story now. I'm like, no, I got a story totally set up. I'm teasing you right now, bros. But I would have to say, like, most of my experience in that was actually very extremely positive. I'm friends with a lot of Wiccans and witches, green witches, white witches, black witches, whatever you want to call them. I'm friends with them. I'm friends with a lot of people who tip their toes in every type of spirituality. Minus Satanists, we don't get along at all. I don't know if I'll ever tell the stories as to why that exactly is, but we stay away from each other for good reasons. And yeah, it is. But yeah, I was in a coven for 3 years. I was engaged, hand-fasted to the second in command of said coven. Some fun, interesting stuff happened there. I don't want you guys to get too sad, so we're not going to delve deep into that one. But yeah, so I've been celebrating the solstices for a long time. Samhain, I always get that wrong. Yule and all that jazz. But And I've always been, ever since I was a kid, ever since even now, I've always been drawn to that type of stuff, to that type of spirituality, to the paranormal, to things like that. And like I said, with my experience at 10 o'clock and me being awakened, as I would like to call it, I'm drawn even more to it as well every day. I see it, I experience it, I live this every single day. Some might call me a psychic. I wouldn't put me into that category. I know the witches gave me a title, The Watcher. It's you can delve deep into that one. Read the Book of Enoch. You'll be great on that one. We'll talk about past lives and all that jazz on this show. Don't worry about that. We'll get deep into that as well. But I have a deep history and experiences within the paranormal when it comes to hauntings for ghosts, or when it comes to dealing with some deep spiritual shit within witchcraft, within demonology, and just stuff like that, and all that jazz. And my background when it comes from education is psychology and philosophy, with a minor in history and English. So I'm just like, that's where my brain lends itself. So that's where I am in that one. And I do everything, like, I'm a big fan of debunking stuff, Before I even think something's going to be paranormal or spiritual, whatnot, I have to go through a litany of checklists in my mind before I say, okay, this can't be explained because, I don't know, the sub pump went off and you're watching a freaking movie, so your mind is matrixing everything. That is why you heard that bump in the night. Now, speaking of bump in the night, I'm also kind of that type of person and mentality, the first responder type of mentality, to where if I hear a bump in the night, I go towards that bump in the night. I'm not the one who runs away from it. I always go towards the stupid thing. And that's gotten me in trouble a lot of times. And other times it's made for some great adventures, to which we'll talk about in later episodes. But so I would have to say living in Coven was a very good, interesting experience. Made a lot of friends there. I've learned a lot about herbs and just home remedies and DIY stuff. It's fun. I have a couple books of shadows here, and I'm also a gatekeeper of some crap. And I've always, like I said, I've always found that type of lifestyle to be extremely intriguing, extremely fascinating. But I think when, at least for me, you have to have a good foundation, a good grounding as to where you are. Now, I'm a big believer in God and all that stuff. Whether what you believe in, party on. This is a judgment-free zone. Party on. I don't care. I've always said at the end of the day, when everyone's dead, we'll all know the truth. So party on. You be you now. You ain't gonna get any judgment from me. Like I said, I'm friends with freaking everyone except Satanists and commies. Other than that, I am friends with everyone. But yeah, life during those times was an experience. And, voodoo dolls, Ouija boards. We'll do an episode about Ouija boards and my experiences with those. We'll talk about portal keys, objects that connect and open up portals to darkness or to realms that you should just never be playing with. My experiences with that, and just how, like, living a very spiritual life as I do, and how it really just affects everything. Where some people, like, we're gonna go into a little bit of deepness right now. Can we go deep just for a second, boys? That's what she said. When you live a very spiritual life, it's sometimes hard to live that life when, sometimes people force you to turn that part of you off, and you're always living as if you're half the person you used to be. I'm a big believer in, be who you're going to be, man. Be who you are meant to be, and follow the path you are meant to follow. Don't let the roadblocks get in your way. Those roadblocks are merely there to teach you lessons, and then you can just keep going forward. I'm a big believer in, no matter what happens, pick your ass up, dust yourself off, keep moving forward. Always move forward. Learn from the past. Continue going, because the fates have weaved for you a destiny, or God has weaved for you a destiny for you to complete and accomplish something. Remember, everyone, we are all here in this time, in this space, for a reason. I don't believe anyone's birthed in this time. Anyone who's breathing air right now is here by mistake. You have a purpose. We all do. And it sometimes feels as if there are times when we don't know what that purpose is. We don't feel like we've been awakened yet to that purpose. Well, party on. If you feel like you are struggling through some stuff, email me. We'll talk about it. I'm totally open and totally here for you on that. Judgment-free zone. Vent. Say what you got to say. Party on. Boomy is here for you. Because I get it. I have been there. And sometimes I feel like I'm still there. But life is life, man. And it gets very interesting when you're more spiritually attuned to things. And that's the thing. And I am. It happens. For example, about 99% of most vivid dreams that are like reality based, right? That aren't dreams, that are visions, and we'll talk about that. And man, I should start taking notes. What we're going to talk about. I believe, 99% of the dreams that I've had that are vivid, real life dreams have always come true. They're precursors. They're showing me what's going to happen. And you always have like that deja vu moment, right? It's like, oh shit, this looks familiar. This is going to happen. It has. It saved my ass a few times. And then I've had vision dreams and whatnot, dreams that you just have to, like, you wake up going, well, what the fuck did that mean? And then you're stuck for the rest of the day trying to decipher the jigsaw puzzle that dream was. But sometimes the universe gives you dreams and visions that you're not supposed to know yet, but they're just giving you some pieces of the puzzle, and they'll give you more later down the road. But I'm going off on a tangent only because I'm trying to give you guys a good taste, a good glimpse of where my world is. And I'm literally just giving you the itsy bitsy top of that world. We'll go into later in things about what I believe in and stuff like that. And we can always do that with you guys too. Like I said, email me your experiences, email me your thoughts. What do you want shared? We'll talk about it. So what I wanted to do for this episode, outside of introducing myself and introducing some of the weird shit I've been in, experienced and lived in my life, is I have experienced where I currently live in the Midwest. I have experienced some weird shit. And one in particular, and that's what the title of this episode is, The Demon by the Couch, is I was in college. Now, this had to have been like 15 years. Golly, I'm old. 15 years ago or so. Or shorter, 13 years. It really doesn't matter. It's over a decade, so hashtag I'm old. And I remember coming home. And at that point, I was living with my grandfather. And I was just stupidly tired. I was really tired. There's nothing spiritual going on. It's a freaking, like, I'm working a job. I'm going to college at the same time. I am just blame exhausted. And I laid down on my couch. Like, it was like this old pull-out couch. I don't have it anymore. But ugly as sin. Actually, this couch is in my first book that I wrote. Because for about 3 years, has everyone ever realized, maybe I'm just realizing this now, but a lot of things in my life happen in threes. I don't have to think upon that later when I'm meditating. But so I lived with my grandfather for 3 years. He passed away in 2010. He would have been, he'd be like over 100 years old now. Go you, buddy. So I slept on this couch, right? I refused to get a bed. He's like, well, let's buy you a bed. I'm like, nah, I'm very like, dude, I will sleep on anything. Don't put yourself out in for me. And he was a grandpa, right? Grandpas are grandpas. They'll do anything for their grandkids. And my grandfather was very much that type of person. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll just sleep on the couch. Well, I hated the pull-out couch. I hated this stupid thing. Like I said, I can sleep on almost anything except pull-out couches. I hate them with an ever-loving passion. I despise them, and I wish whomever made those, I just wish things on them. Just saying. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. I don't hate many things in life, but that is the thing I hate. So I just slept on top of the cushions on the couch because I was stubborn and I refused to sleep on this stupid thing. So I came home from work or school, one or two. It's been a long time, okay? And I do remember laying down on the couch to take a nap. Now, I don't typically take naps. I'm not a napping type person. I don't like to nap. I hate sitting for too long. How I gained so much weight at one point, I don't understand. How I've lost so much weight, I understand. I get that. But I laid down for a nap, and I don't remember exactly what I was dreaming. But do you ever have those sense when you're in a room alone or you're in a dark room? It wasn't dark. It was like the freaking middle of the afternoon. But you get that sense, like, even when you're dreaming and when you're asleep, you know something's off, something's wrong. It's like your sixth sense, your body, the body is naturally attuned to the weird shit that's happening out there. It knows. That's why we get goosebumps and all that stuff. I refuse to call it goose pimples, by the way. I hate that term, just saying. But that's why we get that sometimes in certain situations where we're not quite sure why we're having this reaction. Our body's having this natural reaction to something, but something's there that our body's sensing. And that's what kind of happened to me while I was asleep. And I remember waking up, but I didn't like wake up, poop, there's Boomy's eyes. My eyes are wide open. No, I remember I was awake. My eyes were closed. I'm like doing it right now. My eyes are still closed, but I was awake because I can sense. And like I said, my sensibilities, I can sense something there, something in the room, something in front of me. And dude, even sometimes I get jump scared in Stranger Things. So I'm a walking contradiction. But I remember slowly opening my eyes, and there's this, and it happened like in a flash. There was this brown human type figure in front of me, kneeling at the side of the couch. And the moment it realized that I noticed it got the fuck out. It got up and it ran. And I didn't see where it went. I popped up on the couch, and my alarms were, like, my mental alarms were going off. It was kind of crazy. And that, yeah, it's there. Like, you're waking up, you're slow, your eyes aren't open yet, but you know something's there. It's an eerie feeling to have. And it was there. And I remember its body was like brown and tannish. And there was not much definition to its face. There wasn't much detail to its face, but I knew it was humanoid. And if it were to stand up, I'd probably say it's about like 4 foot tall, if not a little shorter. Not a kid. No, I don't like little kid ghosts. Not a fan. And I hate dolls. Not a fan of those either. No, thank you. Doll Island in Mexico is never a place I'll go. I have some hard limits too, and that's one of them. So when it comes to a situation like that, what do you do? Well, if you're me, I'm going to start asking lots of questions like, where did this come from? Was I just dreaming this? Why was this thing here? And where did it go? Now, you know, I grow my own freaking sage, so I'm totally down with saging things, smudging stuff, lighting dragon's blood, incense, and all that jazz. I'm down with that sickness, crystals, stones, whatever. I'm down with it. And I believe a lot of that stuff works because I've seen it work, and I've seen it personally work, and it's worked for me. So I'll never poo-poo that stuff at all because it does work. But, you know, I kind of went through my own cleansing ritual, right? I went through my own cleansing spiritual, like the logical part of me kicking in. And I wasn't asleep. I had woken up because my body alerted me to the situation that there's something there. Get your ass up. And what it was, I don't know. Was it a demon? It's not the sense I was getting from it. But it was just there as if just being curious about me and just there and being startled when it realized I was conscious enough to realize it was there in front of me, watching me. So that right there, and it's not happened again since. That one incident has not happened since then. That was the only time that has happened, and it hasn't happened again. What does it mean? Who knows? Who knows what it means? I don't know. I didn't get anything threatening from it. Just curiosity is the energy I got off it. But I'm also very much of a, hey, don't screw with me. Don't do that. I'm not a fan of that. Ask questions, ask permission. I'm down with that. But just don't come in. I was taking a nap. Okay? Why'd you wake me up? From what I can remember, it was a good sound nap too. But you woke me up from a good nap. But yeah, so that is the case in a short view right there of the brown demon ghost, or what you want to call it, at the side of the couch. Yeah, that was a freaky experience. And I have a couple more where I've had dreams of things. And the number one rule I have, and I tell this to friends of mine and I have people every once in a while who will call me and say, hey man, I had this weird dream. And we'll talk about some of those in later episodes, but my friend, we'll just call him Bill, would used to call me because he would have dreams of this demon like chasing him. And my number one rule is never name or speak the demon's name. And the main reason for that one is you don't want to give something more power than it deserves to have. And it's a cautionary tale. I rather not play with fire if I don't have to. And if naming something gives it a little more leeway into your life, well, just don't name it. Don't say its name, and you should be good to go. So if we do get stories of demons and whatnot, you do tell me the name. That's fine. That will stay with me forever. But I'll always change the names. That's why the name was changed in the Watchers series, where I refused and I did not name the demon from that series because that demon actually has a true actual name. So we just called it Demon. There you go. Bob the Demon. Party on. So Bob the Demon visited me while I was taking a nappy nap on the couch. There's that. But yeah, I will never say the name. I don't like I said, I don't like to play with fire unless I freaking have to. But there's the story. There's the thing. Let me know in the comment section below or email me your thoughts on this. Was that scary for you? Do you want scarier stuff? Because I have scarier stuff. Sometimes I feel like I'm a bit jaded because I listen to a lot of scary like ghost podcasts and I watch tons of like ghost hunters, ghost adventures. And I eat like, do you know Kesha's got a freaking paranormal show out now? Kesha. Sparkle Girl, she's got a freaking show out and it's actually not that bad. It's actually really good. But yeah, and like, I follow a lot of these people, and sometimes I feel like with my experiences that I've had in life and at the spiritual side, and whether, I listen to all these ghost stories, none of it really phases me at this point. Now, I am a total chicken. I will not watch ghost hunters at nighttime. Like I said, I'm a walking contradiction. I prefer to have the lights on when I watch that crap. No, I don't. I'll watch freaking Shark Week when I'm trying to go to sleep. That's where my limits are. I'll watch Shark Week. I'll watch a great white shark, disembowel a freaking seal. I'm down with that. But I will not watch ghost paranormal shows when I am trying to go to sleep, or UFO shows. We might talk about UFOs. I don't know where I land on that story yet. We can dive so deep into that world on whether they're actual, UFO beings, or are they more on a ethereal plane from a different realm. We can talk about Bigfoot and my theories on Bigfoot, and why I kind of think Bigfoot is real, but not what you actually think Bigfoot actually is. It's Boomy, I have a deep rabbit hole, and that sounded really dirty, but I do. But I look forward to continuing these episodes. I look forward to hearing your guys' stories and what you guys think in all this. But like I said, if you have a story, if you want to remain anonymous, party on. Just email me, and we'll make sure no one knows who you are. But yeah, I look forward to hearing your stories because I know you have them. I know people have experienced stuff. And maybe later on we'll talk about, a mission that I feel like I've been sent on in this life for things. We'll do that episode. I really need to write down my the things I've gone through, things I've seen, and make those different episodes. And then we'll talk about like overly like really haunted places like Bachelor's Grove in Illinois, and my experience and my history with that place and why it intersects my life in a crazy way, and why I've given college students tours of Bachelor's Grove. We'll go down that rabbit hole as well. And I'll get deeper into the Coven stories and the Coven history there and some of the stuff that I experienced that you just should not do. And we'll get deeper into that. We'll get deeper into ruins. We'll get deeper into a lot of that stuff. But biggest disclaimer is, hey man, if you don't feel comfortable with something, don't play with it. There you go. Follow your instincts. Follow your intuition always. If you feel like there's a red flag going up in your mind, run away. When in doubt, get the hell out. That's my motto. So there you go. Put your comments in the comment section below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and all that jazz. Make sure you hit the like button as well. And I want to see your comments. I cannot wait to see what stories y'all send me in that one, and what things you want me to talk about in these episodes. It's free game. Party on. I love history. I love doing research. So I will go down that rabbit hole all day long. So, my friends, thank you so much for staying with us for the very first episode of Scary Stories with Boomy. And yeah, we'll see you later, my friends. Remember, stay scary, stay scared. We'll see you later.